solvent to clean the cylinder. Press. Crankshaft valve. So it doesn't track anything. All assembled slide right. Assembled cylinder head. Pair of nylon rods to help guide it down. Special holding This is the specification we have from Lotus, 160.
it up at what, 2?
Specialty awards. Are you going to do this?
Did you get any dinner tickets, Gordon?
Is that a question?
Yes.
It's Don. What have you done?
Program director.
picture of me on myself at camera. Larry was smiling.
I want to welcome everyone to Stillwater, and particularly to Merc Cruiser. I think this is a great event. I think the time out on the airstrip, running up and down, doing all the things that give us excitement. I think that's what it's all about. And I want to thank Jim and Larry for pulling this together. I want to thank Tony Young from Automotive Quarterly for coming to interview a number of the people around here for his upcoming book about the history of the ZR-1. Also, Tommy Morrison for all of his efforts and promotion of the ZR-1. He's really got us on the front page of almost every significant magazine around the world. 175 miles an hour over 24 hours, and they also went ahead and went through 5,000 miles. And having been raised in the shadows of the Indy, that's 10 races back to back. Well, I want to thank everybody for coming tonight, and welcome to Thunder and Stillwater. Tommy Morrison, Dick Goldstein, Doug Griffin, and John Langenfelter. I'd like to introduce to you Mr. Jim Menaker, Corvette Powertrain Systems Manager. Come on up, Jim. Words cannot describe. Say that again, would you, Chris? Barry, I really appreciate the comments. That won't work. There's some good news and some bad news here. Ed Barton asked me to talk tonight, and the good news is he only gave me five minutes. The bad news is I never did anything in 5 minutes. I can't even thank Barry and Steve and the rest of the LT5 gang in 5 minutes. Hell, Chris couldn't even get through all their names, so I won't try that. But I did want to say just one thing here. It wasn't an accident that we picked Mercury Marine as the supplier for this engine. And in fact, we had a lot of our own in-house shops that we could have picked, including Flint, that builds an outstanding engine for us. But when we got down here and looked around and saw the kind of work that they did on their outdrives and their own engines, it was clear cut that this was the right place to build the engine. And I think you'll have to agree, all the things that have been talked about, that was the right thing to do. Now, one thing that wasn't talked about here, and I'm just going to spend a little bit of time talking about that, but there was some manufacturing innovations along the way with this as well. Our friends at Lotus were very good to come up with dimensions on the engine that nobody in the world could do, including their own shop in the Hethel. There's no way they could hold these kind of tolerances in Hethel, but they dumped it on the likes of Terry Stinson, and Terry fooled them. He met all of their tolerances and more. In fact, came up with some really interesting innovations, like boring the cam bore. It's a two-piece assembly, mated for life, and is held with incredible tolerances. And Terry came up with an invention to do that. And in fact, he was so good at that he found himself another job up in Wisconsin as a result of that. He, in fact, was the Young Manufacturing Engineer of the Year for our country in 1989, I think. Terry, I'm sorry if I got the year wrong, but that's the kind of innovation that went into this. Anyways, my 5 minutes up? I wanted to, this is really just going to be light. I wanted to share with you some slides, 200 or so, of my favorite slides on this project. Long about this time, there were not drafting services to be had anywhere on this continent. So we went to Hotel Whiting also in England to help us with the packaging of the engine, as well as at that point the 90 interior. So you can see a discussion here where I'm trying to convince McClellan that this is really going to go in there. All that stuff is going to go in there, as he would say. Trying to convince myself. McClellan trying to convince himself. And then when all else fails, you take McClellan to the bar. That's the way to work. In fact, there was a lot of good work over in England done in the pub. I didn't understand that when I first went over, but that's the way they work. This place was called Duck or Grouse. And, oh, by the way, the magazine writers, they aren't so perfect either.
About that one in the magazine.
Yeah.
Got an airbag?
This is one you haven't seen before, I'm sure. This guy, the white-haired gentleman with his back to you, is none other than Tony Rudd. Now, Tony was right in the right seat in this one, and he was in for a surprise. But that's, those are the kind of roads you get into over there. Look at some of the bits hanging off the side. We were fortunate enough to have our partners Goodyear invite us to their test track as part of this exercise as well, and this is part of the wet water handling course. Managed to catch a few magazine covers as a result of that. I think there were some 30-odd covers as a result of that exercise, not the least of which was my favorite, Corvette from hell. Okay, well this is one of my favorite shots. It's sunset on the LT5, and of course I was going to say this is the end of the program sort of thing, but okay, Chris, it's back to you.
Would you point out what the kids did with the seats there?
Yeah, that's neat.
Oh yeah, see the seats, how they put the seats there at the bottom?
What we eventually came up with was an engine that incorporated the rear crankshaft seal of the small block Chevrolet, and everything else was new.
Right now I'd like to introduce the ZR-1 Registry founder, Mr. Larry Merrill, Long Island, New York.
I feel pride in driving the finest car made, is what I feel, okay? Dollar for dollar, there's nothing out there that's better than what we got, okay? I feel pride in the registry, which has come from 6 members 18 months ago to very close to 1,000. We will top 1,000 in the next couple of days as things come in. I came here not expecting, not knowing what to expect. Jim had told me a little bit about the plant and the people. I had spoke to many of the people at the plant occasionally. I was blown away today by what they did for us and allowing us to see how our engine is manufactured. It's obvious from talking to each of these people, and I talked to virtually all of them today, the pride that they take in their product. And I don't believe it. I think that we owe them all a true world-class round of applause. To the people at Mercury Marine, there is no way that we can express the thanks for the joy that you've given us, for the pride you've taken in your product. I'm just going to go away from Stillwater. I may never come back, but I'm always going to have tremendous memories of this place. Thank you very much.